mean, this is going to be a bit of a slobber knocker, I think. Two very talented players in the North American region. But it's going to be Ruins of Sarnath again, because this is the same stage in the tournament, that predetermined map coming through. Gellehsak going in with Slash, Anarchy, and Sorlag. This is also a very good team composition for Ruins of Sarnath, I think. Yeah, and again, it seems very much to be that the Sorlag is the one that you really just can't afford to swap out. You kind of need Sorlag on your team at this point, because it just seems to be ill-advised to not use it at this point. You know, she's so powerful, she has the health, she has the damage output, she has the mobility, she just ticks all the boxes that you need. And obviously when all of your competition will be playing her, you kind of need to make sure you can keep up. And obviously Sorlag is good versus Sorlag, because Sorlag doesn't get affected by the damage over time of other Sorlags. So having her on your team is a good answer to the fact that she will be on almost every team in the game, I think, or for the vast majority of the players at the very least. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens in this through, as the warm-up is just about to finish. Winner of this is going to be moving on to face VDMK, where they will then play to qualify for Dreamhack Winter. So all left to play for as we get into this next match. So dooi, I think he's really one to watch because of his movement. Like, his movement and his aim combined is quite special to watch. And obviously those two going hand in hand means that you can be quite dangerous with a champion like Anarchy. We saw a huge amount of impressive movement from dooi last week, in fact. Where he fought off against Waz, I believe. If memory serves me correctly. Has been a long day. Still though, this is going to be dooi, Gellehsak, Anarchy, Sorlag, and Slash versus Anarchy, Sorlag, and Ranger. So we know that Slash has always been quite preferred on Ruins of Sarnath to those that do play her. Especially before, wow, trading out rail for rail, but doii's definitely getting the short end of this stick as he eats 3 individual rails. And I mean, now his armor is irrelevant. It has no purpose whatsoever. He will die in 1 tick because he was just 1 health away.
Oh, this feels like a wicked hangover.
Wow, that's a clean first kill, but they're both into Anarchy now. But yeah, in fact, actually, they've both got fantastic movement with Anarchy. Gellehsak coming through with his arsenal of green weaponry, looking through strong. I'm surprised he actually has the Quake 1 rocket, because it is in fact not green. dooi has green everything. Yeah, maybe he just really likes this one. Potentially. I mean, there you go, heavy armor, that's green. But that's going to be helpful to dooi. Obviously, it's going to be that Anarchy mirror, so having more armor is going to help him in this sort of like straight up 1v1 engagements, which he might get the better of here. There's a rocket, a lot of damage coming through now. Waiting for the mega health. The important thing there was that it just forced Gellehsak off the mega. You know, it just kind of put him in a situation where dooi was able to guarantee that for free. There's nothing Gellehsak could really do, and that just surprise rail from behind. Very clean execution right there. Gellehsak caught off guard, definitely. I don't think Gellehsak was really expecting him to be following him in that situation. Maybe expected dooi sort of back up a little bit. Getting 1 rail, very close now. Oh wow, he just missed. That was like underneath the toe. That is unfortunate. Only just missed. And make health up. Gellehsak has a lot of armor, but not a lot of health. He's still going to be quite vulnerable here. It's not quite coming through, has to be careful. I mean, doii's being very aggressive, but I think he's being cautiously aggressive. Didn't really want to eat too many of those rails. Did take 1 in the process, but I think if he's going to sort of put that pincer onto Gellehsak and prevent his movement, he needs to make sure he's not overextending, and that was a fantastic rocket. Unfortunately, Gellehsak just moving right into it. Still though, he took the rail damage, so even though again the heavy armor's gone towards Gellehsak, he's content to let him have it. He hasn't quite topped up his health yet, so we'll trade that out for the mega health. Now Gellehsak is sort of getting himself as stacked as he can. That's going to give Gellehsak a little bit of data. Some of those rails, you do kind of give your position away when you miss them. Not a direct today, maybe next time. No, not quite. This is going to be quite difficult, I think, for both players to hit these rockets. It's going to be Anarchy Slash, some of the most mobile champions in the game, if not the most mobile. Go for the OG instead. Oh. Hey, he will get the best of that 1v1 as round 1 goes towards dooi. That was lovely tracking. Yeah, I think it was just the LG, right? When you've got 2 characters that fast, 2 champions that are that mobile, just go for the LG. The rocket too easy to juke around, or too... I suppose I don't want to say unreliable, because obviously it can, if you make the right read, you can do tons of damage very quickly. But the LG just, it's tracking. You hold down and you just do your best to track them as best you can. Well, it's similar to what we've seen today. You know, where in that kind of situation, if you've both got even health and you've both got an LG, then you tend to see the LG sort of 1v1 a little bit more. If there's no way you're going to be able to really sort of make up for the damage because you haven't got, you know, the health or the armor to back yourself up, that's when you see people switch to the rocket launcher just to get massive bursts of damage. If they're going to go down, their saving grace is just a massive damage rocket, and that can turn the tide. But definitely not used all the time. That sort of token fantastic Saw-like start with the rail, LG, and heavy armor. That's all Saw-like needs to get going. I mean, no doubt we're going to see dooi commit to this fight. He did just miss all the contact with the acid, but still, damage over time was enough, as I think gellehsak walked through it trying to juke away, but even though he injected, wasn't enough to save himself. gellehsak is alive, has plenty of health and armor. Most likely got himself the LG based on where he spawned. Yeah, that sounded like an LG to me. Mega health going to be up soon. Makes you wonder what dooi's going to be prioritizing here. Does he go for the mega health, or does he just try and get some more armor? The heavy armor just went towards gellehsak. Oh, nice little trade-off right there. 2 good rails. That's going to even things out somewhat. Just keeping someone in check. You know, keeping them from being a little bit too brave. Still though, only a minute and a half left into this, well, I say left, a minute and a half into this round, I should say. Still plenty of time ready to go. Oh, acid, that's a lot of damage. gellehsak forced to run away. Is dooi going to chase this? He smells blood. He does, and he shoots him from behind. That's going to be a long-range rail shot. And gellehsak once again put onto this slash alone by herself to try and bring this full round back. This is going to be tough. It was just another good decision. There was no reason for dooi to respect that heavy armor at all. There was no way gellehsak was going to be able to survive even with the heavy armor. That shot was pretty much just as free as if he didn't have it. There's the plasma trail down. Heavy armor not going to be up for a little while longer. Need some health so he doesn't die immediately from anything. But now the pressure does start to ramp up when you're in this situation. You've got to take out not just a Saw-like, but an Anarchy and a Ranger in case you drop that off. But even then, you know, it seems unlikely that we'll go down to the 5-minute timer in this round based on how things are going. But even if we do find ourselves getting that close, it's 3-1. It's going to be very difficult for gellehsak to at least just even it up, let alone win the round. It's a lot of damage. He's got to run away. Yeah, a little more time potentially wasted on the clock. I mean, he even had a little bit of an itchy trigger finger there. He shot the rocket a little bit too early and hit the wall, did a bit of self-damage, but it doesn't even matter. Oh, a lovely little rocket jump just to meet gellehsak into the air. Can he finish the job? He has way more health and armor. And because of that, I mean, he didn't really need to do a whole lot of damage. That rocket jump was just a great little setup.
Prepare to fight.
Wonderfully played. dooi looking strong, I'm not going to lie. He just has that confidence, right? He just knows when to take these fights. Well, he looked dangerous last week as well during the Denver qualifiers, and he's keeping that momentum. It's a week. A week's not a hugely long time. If you're in good form one week, you're likely to be in good form the next. So they're back to this important first fight. The acid once again hasn't connected, but he is chasing this one hard. The rockets aren't quite connecting from gellehsak. This is so insanely aggressive. Like, I have been in your face from start to finish. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, dooi just chased him to the ends of the earth there. gellehsak desperately tried everything he could to try and fight back, but just couldn't do it. And dooi, he can win this, just ran out of lightning, but the rocket splats gellehsak all over the pavement. And already, 30 seconds in, gellehsak is down to his last champion. And he's already met him head on. Does he land the rail? No, ever so slightly. Beautiful way to finish this round. Is this going to be 40 seconds of just pure power? Is this going to be a 60-second round? That is the question. I mean, he's just flipped the switch. I mean, if you know the pressure's on, this is definitely a good approach. If you know the pressure is on your opponent, right, and that you're 2 rounds up already, why not be insanely aggressive in that final round? Lay it on thick, stress them out. Maybe that's just a great turnaround. I mean, I don't even know if it caught them off guard, but he just dedicated to it. And every single time he dedicated, he got a frag for free. But that's the kind of style with Saw-like specifically that I think really worked. Because think back to some of the more notable Saw-like players that we've seen from day one to now. Obviously, the biggest one that will always come to mind, Claws. Claws is the Quake Champions world champion right now for both Sacrifice and Duel. You know, for those of you that saw Quake World Championships, I hope you did. If not, go back and watch and see Claws' play. Really sort of defined that Saw-lag, that aggressive Saw-lag, get in your face in a lot of situations where most players will sort of, you know, take the damage trade back up and try and heal up. He would just get the LG out and just go in. That is the style of Saw-lag that is getting more and more progressively useful as we move through. And that's the exact kind of thing I saw there from dooi, which is just, I'm going to win this fight, you're not getting away from me. I have an LG, I've got acid, let's go. And even if the acid doesn't really connect massively, if you're chasing the opponent down, you're still Saw-lag and you're still basically the tankiest champion in the game. You've got 150 health, you've got 100 armor. Even without heavy armor or mega health, that is still a crazy good stack to have against any smaller champion. So if you're sticking to them, even without acid spit, and you've just got good LG aim, that fight will still be in your favor. So I think it's, it's just players like dooi, and obviously Sorlag is not the only reason. He's got fantastic Anarchy movement as well. His aiming and his general positioning has been on point too. We've changed the map. I believe it's going to be Blood Run is our next map we're going to go on. So another sort of close range map where the fights are quite frequent. It's you can still play that sort of hit and run style. Obviously, gellehsak with the Anarchy is probably going to go in with that again. But I would like to just see. It's hard to really pinpoint. Are we going to see the same level of aggression from dooi? Because that seems to be the theme of the day.
I think dooi is just going to continue to lay on what has been working, right? If aim broke, don't fix it kind of thing. We might see a few different champions here, perhaps, because it is Blood Run after all, but I guess we'll see soon. I said doii's going to be sticking to the Ranger. We know Ranger does well on Blood Run, but Anarchy can be the same as always. So yeah, looks like they're going to be sticking with the tried and true at the very least, but dooi. One thing that has been setting him apart today has been his rails. Like, his rail accuracy has just been phenomenal, and this is such an important map for that. The rail is in a bit of a vulnerable place, so it's quite hard to secure sometimes, but when you do get one, being able to rail someone going for mega health, being able to rail someone going for heavy armor up top, being able to rail someone before or after they come out of the teleporter, like, this is a great map for someone with good rail accuracy. And I think dooi might be able to make the most of this, but this map would have been gellehsak's pick, so I assume he'll be the most confident on this, at least on face value alone.
Well, I feel like it's a very important weapon at dealing with Sorlag. And I know, obviously, you can talk about Sorlag until the end of days, but with the champion being selected as often as the champion is picked, and the fact that champions play a big factor in this game, I think it's something that really can't be not talked about. Like, if you have the rail and you're able to sort of keep Sorlag at a range where they're not always able to fight when they want to fight. If they're trying to control the map and use their stack and their mobility to just control mega, to control heavy, like, that's all well and good, but if you're able to at least pick them off the rails and just keep them less healthy than they want to be, it's a great start for at least when the fight happens, they're not able to just out-health you the way they can do.
So this is going to be the same start as before. Sorlag versus Anarchy. I kind of assume this is going to be the one we'll see the most. But I mean, it's hard to kind of predict what champion is going to come first when you've got people like Anarchy and Sorlag on the same team. Normally Sorlag is the first just to try and, like, I suppose deal with enemy Sorlags, get that aggression up right from the word go. But Anarchy being first means you have the longest amount of potential time to roll that snowball, right, and get those injections on deck and start building up that maximum health. But it seems to be quite difficult against a champion like Sorlag, it seems.
Yeah, whether you're going to have them on deck for very long versus Sorlag is another question. And especially a player as aggressive as dooi. I mean, no matter the champion he plays, goes in for the acid, that is a huge chunk of damage. gellehsak's in big trouble now.
He did get some health, but manages to back off into the teleporter in just the nick of time. Going through for some health. And immediately, dooi firing that quick shot to the left.
I mean, that's definitely one of those why not shots. Going in with the LG, but this is unbelievably risky. That could have been a death sentence.
Mega health up any second, though. Trying to poke through. Does manage to pick it up, but ate quite a lot of damage in the process.
It's going to come off better. Goes in for the LG, but forced to escape.
Oh, there's a nice rail from below. gellehsak just putting the needle through there and catching him on the seemingly the tip of his head.
I mean, dooi tried to be aggressive too. Like, he really tried to sort of catch him off guard. That was a very unfortunate rocket as well. Did a little bit of damage to himself. I think that's a good start for gellehsak. If you're down the way he is currently down, you need to make sure you can get any amount of momentum. If not for yourself, take the momentum away from dooi. Stop that snowball from moving.
Still though, having the heavy armor is huge.
Oh, wow! Rail. That is unfortunate. That is highly unfortunate.
Although both players did seem to miss in that situation, so both of them are able to escape with their lives.
For now. Oh! That is one of those rails that you just feel. You feel it in your bones. Going in for the rockets. And he sets up the rail perfectly. I mean, that was a very confident decision to keep those weapons out. And using his final rocket to get that little boost onto the heavy armor. That's going to be worthwhile. I mean, that was a confident rail. If that rail missed, he was probably dead.
I mean, dooi doesn't actually have an LG yet, so he's kind of only really got the rocket launcher to use at the moment.
Yeah, he had no choice.
There we go, fixed that. Now he has access to one. The rail again, not quite on the mark for gellehsak. You can see, dooi really wants to find the opportunity to chase him just for the kill, but that seems to make it quite difficult.
Every time he takes a step around the corner, that you can see there's like an air of real hesitation.
Well, because if he kind of just, carelessly just plows through the corners,
he's going to go face first to a Sorlag, who's going to spit acid all over him, and he's just going to instantly die. He has to be careful. And gellehsak knows that's the strength he can do. Like, he's going to be ready to do that at any moment.
That did sound to me like the acid had just been used, though.
I mean, you can see it at the very least. He's going to know the acid is down. And this is where he goes in. As soon as he sees the acid's not there, that's when he just plows himself in.
And now he's starting to go for the chase. gellehsak tries to get out of there, but he's taking big damage on the rocket. One more of those should do the trick, but he has picked up a little bit of health, chasing it down with the LG, and that's just awareness. The second he heard the acid used, saw the puddle on the floor, right, now is my chance to go in.
That calculated aggression. As soon as he knew, he didn't have to worry about it, and what a rail again from the hip as well. I mean, dooi just has that perfect kind of aggression, it seems. He isn't just aimlessly and mindlessly just running in at gellehsak. He's going in when he knows that the chances of him, like, it's almost like they're weighing the odds of how likely am I to win this fight. And as soon as the odds are, like, massively in their favor, it's like, right, let's do it. Let's go in. Let's fight. And that wasn't even with the tanky Sorlag.
Always laying the trap. gellehsak doesn't quite take the bait.
It's quite an LG, though. His weapon choice is quite limited. And he has a machine gun and a super shotgun. That's really not what he needs to fight.
That rail, that's a good start for him. I feel like gellehsak is actually almost on the flip side, right, where he had a lot of control with Sorlag in particular. But the issue is now, he was, that was a pretty impressive comeback from dooi. Just the ability to just, you know, take that one frag and seize it, and his rails, I mean, you just can't challenge them. His rails have been so on point this entire series. And I mean, it's a continuation from last week. Like, he's been playing very impressively.
Yeah, actually hesitated to take that shot there, it seemed.
Oh.
Sure, dude was standing still there. gellehsak seemed to maybe just assumed he was going to start moving.
Yeah, he must have just expected a last-minute movement.
Oh, he caught him at the end, though. Did those connect?
No.
Oh, one of them.
Oh, we get to the acid puddle at the least.
He does seem to have a lot of health to keep himself alive. Oh! Another good shot by that armor is time after time, keeping gellehsak alive.
But I feel like gellehsak is... There's a couple of things. I think he's challenging the rail a little bit too much. Like, every time he's challenging that rail, he's eating one every single time. But at the same time, even if the rail connects, he's at least denying the heavy armor from dooi, and the heavy armor is something Sorlag needs to thrive.
Especially in popular settings.
Because there's no heavy armor. He might go down, and he does indeed. So taking those rails was all worth it.
Alright, so he's going to know that gellehsak is quite weak, but he did just pick up the mega health. Question is, does he know he has? It looks like he will by now, seeing that it's not there anymore. gellehsak has a lot of momentum. Another good shot from below.
I mean, he just doesn't miss. He doesn't miss those grounded rails. I think he's yet to miss one. Oh, going in full steam ahead. Oh, tries to pop the injection, but can't quite.
A nice direct from gellehsak, though. That's all he needed. Oh, just around the corner, just eating one rail, clipped on the edge. I mean, I'm not going to say it's impossible for dooi to bring this back, but it will be difficult for sure. I know I've said that countless times today, but we keep seeing people make these crazy comebacks.
I mean, today has been
past them.
Today has been the day for comebacks, so you can never doubt it. But I mean, that dire orb used outside of mobility is very risky indeed, because if it doesn't work out, you've lost your escape. But another fantastic rail. So many of them have connected, and he meets him head on. Speaking of head on, that telefrag was ridiculous.
And that's what you pick Ranger for. That's the kind of confidence, that's the kind of just mindset you need to get that insta-kill. And it's on a 20-second cooldown. Even if you miss, you get another one soon.
How screwed would you be if that doesn't hit? But if he gets another one, yeah. And look how much damage he's done in a short space of time. He's going to flip the switch. I mean, this is the speed at which you can turn things around.
Ever so slightly missing that rail. Ever so slightly just off the mark.
I think he opted to rocket jump because I really think he wanted to save that dire orb. But unfortunately, because he missed the rocket jump, he was forced to use it.
One blob of acid, but even though it didn't do a lot of damage, it's going to tell gellehsak where he is. Those nails starting to do a lot of damage.
Oh, misses the rail!
One rail, and he might actually die for it. That one miss from gellehsak did unfortunately cost him the round.
So, I mean, we've seen him hit rail after rail after rail. That's what happens when you miss a rail.
That's the danger.
You just get disintegrated.
There is that cooldown time in between shots, right? The railgun effectively having to reload itself in between. While it's cooling down, you can't swap to other weapons. You're forced to it, so you are punished if you miss your rails.
I know Ranger does have that one in particular specific thing you can do where you can shoot a rail and then in between the downtime, then you can throw your die orb as almost like a continuation of the combo, right? But
that's like one exception.
It's very specific. It's a very specific thing. That's a very important round for gellehsak. Just to remind, you know, the folks at home, he's one map down. This map was his choice. He needs to make sure he gets this round.
Oh, there's another one, and there we go. That is the perfect punishment from Missed Rail. Missed Rail, acid everywhere, point blank, all over. Goodbye. So they're back to that Sorlag.
Funny enough, I think actually Sorlag versus Sorlag is the matchup in this 1v1 that we've seen the least, which is so strange. It's very rarely that. It's normally the other way around, but just not today.
So that Mega Health is going to get secured. dooi looking a lot better this round. Because I don't see gellehsak hesitating going for that, because dooi is consistently hitting him with rails when he tries to go for it, and he doesn't seem to mind.
Well, I think it kind of comes down to what we saw in a previous round, where the second he was taking those rails, but at the same time, he was denying heavy armor. And because the next time they fought, dooi did not actually have any armor because it was denied, and for that reason, gellehsak won the 1v1. There we go, he springs the trap.
Like, he did lose out on the Mega Health in the meantime, and he took a rail too. But gellehsak isn't chasing it. gellehsak being nowhere near as content on chasing the frags, but doesn't seem to need to. It's like gellehsak would much rather play from that sort of medium range where he's a little bit safer, whereas dooi wants to get as just point blank as possible and just rush in your face.
Yeah, consistently dooi's been trying to sort of push into these fights, and he's been trying to chase them, but much like what we saw in Ruins, where he assumed the kill was guaranteed, and in many cases it was. It does seem like on this map in particular, it just hasn't been as much of the case. He eats one more rail and he's going to go down. He has been misjudging a couple of these fights.
And a piece of armor too. Still though, you know, dooi has that dire orb accuracy.
Oh dear. Oh, clean shot. Fantastic rail indeed.
Whereas that's really put dooi in a bad situation now, forced with just an Anarchy. Losing that dire orb could be quite huge here. We know that Anarchy isn't the greatest against Sorlag. Can juke the acid, sure, but I mean, those split seconds where he's stuck injecting him, if he's got the acid or even LG, it can be curtains.
I mean, you ain't dodging nothing if it's point blank all over the face. And we've seen that consistently on this map. Here he comes. Goes in, tries to juke, but he just takes a huge chunk of damage. I mean, dooi, he's got to try and get away, but one rail! Oh, misses ever so slightly, but he is still unbelievably behind, and you do not want to be behind against Sorlag with this much of a difference.
And he's left trying to pick small items up to try and bring himself back up to full, while gellehsak is controlling the heavy and the mega again.
Here he comes. He's being aggressive. Tries to dedicate, takes massive damage. Activating his injection. That's unfortunate, but the health currently is pretty even. That will swiftly be undone. Plenty of health around here.
Trying to zone away with that lightning gun, just trying to keep gellehsak away. But all this health nearby.
That's always going to be the issue. When they sort of separate from one another and they opt to go back and try and heal up. Sorlag, she will always have more health and armor than you will. So when these fights take place and these kind of hits connect, I mean, it's very difficult to come back from now.
Oh! Ever so slightly missing the rail. That would have been huge. Would have been round ending. Instead, dooi is thrown a lifeline. 1 minute warning though. gellehsak needs to survive for another minute. But dooi, he is chasing him to the ends of the earth again. There's that acid just to keep him away. But look at how weak gellehsak is. He goes around, he catches him, and that's going to be tying things up in the round. No longer is the champion advantage going to do anything. dooi is back into things with just this Anarchy.
I think that was really well played. The decision to go... Oh, wait, no, he's following the plasma trail. That could have been curtains, but he does survive.
I'm actually
barely
gobsmacked that he survived. I thought for sure as soon as he was stuck in that trail, he was just done. He was just a complete goner, but No, here he is, still alive.
I mean, he'd made such a great decision there to sort of cut him off. Go where he knows he's likely to run. If you've denied that area with Spit, he is unlikely to follow through the exact same location he just went to. So if I'm going to fight this guy, I have to go where I know he's likely to try and head me off instead, and then you meet him head on. That was a fantastic play by dooi.
And it has evened things out, so it's paying off for sure.
I mean, this went from being so far in gellehsak's favor to now we're in sudden death. If he wins this round, dooi will be the one on match point.
I mean, this is one of those turning rounds, right?
Here we go.
He's going to at least be the lead for the map, but if dooi does, match point, that is the situation you want to be in if you're gellehsak.
Oh, wow. Both airborne. Neither player interested in taking that fight. Items are going to be far more important right now, especially with sudden death just activating.
dooi does.
Here he goes.
He's injected and isn't going to need it, but uses it anyway.
That
Goodbye, gellehsak. Rocket point blank. That'll do it.
To fight.
I love the mobility around those corners, where dooi is consistently making sure that if he actually goes around a corner, he's making sure that his Anarchy is airborne at the time. So those sort of last-minute ground rockets point blank that are likely to kind of hit on like the bottom half that you so consistently see, it's so much more unlikely to hit an Anarchy because he's not on the floor. It's just great awareness. But this is match point for dooi. One more round will put him in a match where he has to... He's one step closer to qualifying.
I mean, dooi's going to have heavy armor, he's got a rocket launcher, he's got lightning gun, he's got rail. He has everything he needs to get this frag now. All that's left is to seize the moment, actually take it.
dooi's been good at doing that so far. He's been a good judge of when he can and can't go in. A couple have gone pear-shaped, but it's not deterred him. Let's caught him in the middle of heavy. This is a bad spot for gellehsak. Misses the rail, but I don't think he cares too much to chase it down.
We've seen dooi chase this before. Trying to go to where he thinks he's going to be, perhaps?
Not quite on the teleporter. Can't get the read. Oh. He took a huge amount of damage before he even got anything on the board. Here comes gellehsak. I think he might be looking to finish this, and he's had him off perfectly, but he's on 3 health.
1 second away from the mega health being here. What does dooi do? What is the choice? He can't. Oh, he chose to go back a little bit too late. gellehsak is already 1 step ahead of him and waiting at the mega health and gets the heavy armor. Much better start for gellehsak this time.
I mean, that's a start. He needed a start. Like there couldn't be anything in between.
Oh,
with him being as far behind as he currently is, you got to make sure you're off to a fantastic start. You don't have to put that pressure on yourself to make a comeback if you go down early on.
Some players have clearly been thriving on that, but some just seem to not enjoy that pressure at all.
I don't think we've seen that too much today, which I think is really impressive. I know we're at a higher level of play in this tournament, and these are the later games, but there's a level of composure we're seeing from almost every single player. Yes, these are heavily experienced, not just Quake players, but FPS players, right? And they've been in this situation many times.
gellehsak has that stack of health and armor, so looking good, but it is Anarchy. Going to be deceivingly quick to take down. Again, back to this sort of neutral situation. dooi trying to run through. Oh! And that quick snap to rail. It's been that sort of dooi special in this game, right? Just out of nowhere rails.
I mean, we've said it many times in this series, do not test this gentleman's rails because you're likely to eat one.
Still though, gellehsak going in for Sorlag, this could be good.
Oh, I'm so surprised that missed.
And again, barely missing, but barely missing. Still missing.
I feel like I may have jinxed it. Sorry, dooi.
Of course. Still, gellehsak playing this round really well. But even out, gellehsak can't really afford to make any mistakes now. dooi is on match point. If he wins this, he will send gellehsak to a lower bracket and move on to fight VDMK. Win his final.
This is where things get stressful because you said it yourself, right? You know, one mistake might send him through into that sort of like upper winners bracket to face off for a playoff match to get into Dreamhack. One mistake could cost you the entirety of Dreamhack. It'll be something that you regret for a very long time.
It's the hardest realization to make, is when you look back on a game you lost and you can literally pinpoint the exact moment that you messed up, that cost you that opportunity. And no one wants that to happen to them, but
obviously not to say gellehsak has done that so
yeah,
far.
Of course, gellehsak is still more than capable of winning the series after how he's playing, like 100%, but just I guess a rough example.
Here comes dooi, full steam ahead, and he gets 100.
Correct.
He's seen that number, he's going in for the kill. gellehsak, though, is still pretty healthy.
He hit the wall.
Now, that does mean that dooi is going to likely be a bit more aggressive now. He hasn't got the acid to worry about, and he knows he hasn't got to worry about it for about 20 seconds.
On the subject of that, he does have the injection. Mega health and heavy armor though. Best case scenario. Do you think dooi might even try and take this down to overtime? Or do you think they'll just, you know, whatever happens, happens?
I mean, whoever wins this fight is likely to be super defensive. He springs the trap and dooi falls for it. But minimal damage as a payout. Misses the rail. That is massively important. Now doi's been able to uncontestedly seize that mega health.
And the armor too. doi's just running amok on the map right now, but still already out of the armor.
Oh, yeah! All or nothing! Oh,
gonna be
no! I do sort of question that rocket jump. I think he might have thought maybe I can quickly get the heavy armor before he comes back, but the problem is he just fell right into the hands of gellehsak. That was exactly what he wanted.
Almost 20 seconds left in this round. dooi can no longer afford to be careful. He has to try and go in and get this frag. 20 seconds and he's going to lose. All of a sudden he has no options.
But gellehsak can just afford to be patient now. 10 seconds left. He's got the champion advantage. I mean, almost 5. He's got acid spit too. Ranger can't be immune from that. His only hope is a last-minute dire roll, but I don't think he's even going to have the chance. He uses the rocket boost just to put more space in between, so the dire roll cannot even reach in time. That last-minute detail.
Well played, gellehsak with that knowledge, but taking it down. This is a crucial turning point round. If dooi wins this, he is still going to win the series and send gellehsak to lower bracket advance. But if gellehsak wins, we are just tied up. We might have a third map on our hands, but maybe, maybe not.
There could potentially be a lot of work left to do here.
Could be. But imagine that, you know, dooi doing all this work, knowing you've put in all that hard work, but gellehsak with that consistency to stop him and forcing dooi into a map 3, I mean, that would be a question of endurance, right? Who is better after the amount of time these guys would have been playing right now?
Chasing it down with the LGs, taking humongous damage, forced to use his injection pretty early.
Yeah, but dooi for once actually isn't chasing it.
I think using injection just to make sure you survive, you know, that's always going to be a worthy payout. But for one more time, dooi just lands every single grounded rail every time he goes for heavy. It's like the man knows.
Even with these rockets though, just trying to wait for gellehsak to be close. I think he wants to build that space, get that armor up.
But even after taking a rail, he's still got a nice amount of armor on top of his already existing armor, so it's not going to be a bad trade-off. It's almost like you're willing to take the rail, and you understand that heavy is just going to give you 75 armor rather than 100, but unfortunately just get completely annihilated. And dooi, for another time, just springs the trap.
But that's that token aggressive Saw-like play, right? That just appears right in front of you, sprays acid everywhere with a lightning gun. I mean, it's so hard to survive that. No matter what champion you're playing, no matter what your ability is, that happens, you just die so quickly. Unfortunately for gellehsak, he actually fumbles and falls on the ground there. And doi's able to survive, and that acid spit now gone from gellehsak.
He potentially could have expected dooi to follow through with that as well, but I think dooi understanding there really, realistically was no reason whatsoever for him to jump down there and just put himself into his hands. Oh no, one rail, he just needs one more. Can he get the rocket? And finish things off with a disgusting direct. That is one of the cleanest ways you can end a series, I think.
That was a perfect finish for dooi, I think, as well. And unfortunately, such a disastrous end for gellehsak. For that final round to be so fast. And again, it all came down to aggression. dooi getting the opportunity to get in there, avoid the dangerous situations, like, you know, case in point the first time. He caught Anarchy where the injection wasn't going to save him because he is just so close, point blank. Second fight was Sorlag. As soon as gellehsak didn't have acid, straight in, fighting immediately. And then as soon as that rail connected, where he knew he had gellehsak on spawn, so he wouldn't have a lot of armor and he'd have low health left, he just straight in there for the kill. That was 3 individual fights that dooi was like, right, I have a good chance of winning this fight, I'm going to take it. And he managed to.
Well, we've seen what happened when that doesn't quite work out the way players intend, and it doesn't seem to go very well.
But it's a lot of confidence.
That's what I was just about to say. I mean, it takes a lot of confidence to not be deterred. If something doesn't go right, just go, right, I've got to shake it off. New round, new day. Let's just try and make the decision again. And if it works, it works. That time, I mean, it was just everything worked out perfectly well. So he's going to be moving on. We have qualification matches to decide while we get these matches underway.